It's soccer season here on the SFBN, the one and only network covering boys and girls soccer across the state of Pennsylvania. We've got a great show for you tonight on In the Goal! Practice at the whole car right here. Welcome to this week's edition of In the Goal. I'm your host, Stephen Schreiber, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Jack Kapp and Ryan Haney, the men's soccer coach at Archbishop Ryan. Fellas, how you doing?
Not bad.
I'm doing well.
Doing well.
Well, let's get started right now. We're going to look at not only the number one team in the state of Pennsylvania, but the number one team in the nation according to Top Drawer Soccer, and that's Conestoga. What do you guys have to tell me about Conestoga?
Well, how impressive is that to be number one in the nation out of tens of thousands of high schools and basically dominating every game that they've played. 5-1 over Westchester Henderson, which is a kind of a revenge game because that's the only team they lost to last year. A number of other big victories. 8-1 over Springfield.
Yep, 23 goals for.
Six goals against.
Yeah, that's incredible right there.
Returning 4A state champion.
Yeah.
Off to a great start again, and that's so impressive to be number one in the country this early. And I think we were saying they took over Pennington this week in that draw. So it's impressive. It's impressive to have that in our backyard to see that kind of soccer.
As you mentioned, they were 25-1 last year.
25-1.
Yeah, just an outstanding team. Unfortunately, that one loss came in the playoffs, I believe.
That is correct.
But, they're building upon last season, and I guess we're going to be expecting to see them continue a strong season run so far.
It's a very strong team. Nick Jennings is an All-American. He's a senior captain. Mike McCarthy, senior captain. A number of other really, really tough players. Chris Donovan, Rodrigo Martinez, Logan Schwartz, and Luke Smith all come into the mix there. They are strong throughout the lineup and
very impressive.
Very impressive.
Number one in the nation.
Well, we got to move on. And we can't have a soccer show and not talk about Archbishop Ryan when we have the Archbishop Ryan coach here with us.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a 3-2 record. That's right, Coach?
Yes, we're 3-2. We started off 3-0. We started off on Friday night against Northeast with an impressive 1-0 win over Northeast High School. Continued, we played Franklin Town, and we beat them 2-1. And we also played Carroll in league play and beat them 2-0. So we're off to a good start, and then we hit a little road bump. On Saturday night, we met CB West, which is led by their number 10, their midfield, Taryn Morris. He scored both goals that night, and Dylan Smith was in goal for CB West. And unfortunately, we just came up a little short. We played tough against them. We kept it close. Their last goal was on PK late in the game. Played hard. And then this past Tuesday night, we played a league game against LaSalle High School, who was very impressive. It was 3-0 at halftime. LaSalle. It wound up being 5-0. All my hats go off to LaSalle, how they played. My boys, we just came up a little short that night. And we were practiced last 2 days. We did a lot of talking, some adjusting. Hopefully we rebound for tomorrow's game against McDevitt. But again, LaSalle was very impressive, and so was West. I would love to see them play, or if there's some teams that keep an eye on. But again, we're going to fight still early, and we're going to see what we have. We did a lot of talking. So,
what do you think the strengths of your team are right now?
We're led by our senior midfielder and our forward, returning 4-year starters, George Montag and Will Stackhouse. They both had the goals in the Carroll game. They're our leading goal scorers right now. They're two returning all-Catholic players. They're our captains. Everything kind of goes through them. And again, they had a little tough patch the other night with they were matched up with some players and they were marked, and we're trying to go through those pains a little bit. Also, not so much them, but the rest of the team gelling with them and how they play. They both play high club level soccer. Again, they play at a high level themselves, and they hold themselves accountable. If you come to a game, you'll see that when things are going well, them two are involved, and when things are going out. They're frustrated and they want to get things better. And again, it's a new team. There's some new players out there. These are returning 4-year starters, and they have some expectations.
Yeah.
What's your season outlook right now?
We would love to see us, get a home playoff game. We haven't had a home playoff game in a while. We'd like to see that. I was looking ahead. I mean, before we saw LaSalle, I was hoping we could compete for a Catholic League championship. I still think that hope's there. I still have that desire. I think we have if we stay healthy and Will gets on board and Georgie's on board and we get a few other players in that mix, I could see us ending, on a nice run. We have a ton of seniors on the team out in the field, so hopefully we hit our stride come October and we're going to the playoffs, with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, and hopefully we see LaSalle again. We give them a run for their money.
Was LaSalle the team that had the big goalie, the big goalkeeper, 6'7"?
Yeah, he was impressive.
And big wingspan?
Yes. Werner is his last name. Very impressive. He's a LaSalle commit.
Yeah.
He was first team All-Catholic last year. He's a junior, senior. He was great. He's a gentleman. He played great. Didn't have much to deal with on Tuesday night. We didn't give him too much to crack at it. But the number 10 or the number 8 in the midfield for them, kid with the last name Mitten. So he's a first-year player. He's a senior. He was an academy player. Decided to play this year. He had 2 goals the other night. In the league, the coaches are talking about him a lot. So, I mean, keep an eye out for that name, Mitten. Have somebody to deal with. So.
And talking about LaSalle, they are the reigning Catholic League champion and the District 12 champions. So, they're a very impressive team. As you mentioned, they're led by their goalie. I mean, 6'7" goalie. You said he could reach over the crossbar and not be jumping. I mean, that's just incredible.
And this way also.
This way, I mean, the wingspan's just got to be. And so he's going to LaSalle University for college. That's.
And they actually had a game Saturday against Northeast. It was it's a rematch of the District 12 championship from last year.
2-1 LaSalle.
2-1 LaSalle. Northeast is up 1-0. 20 minutes to go in the game. I had to go to get a bus to CB West, but I got called that LaSalle scores 2 goals in the last 20 minutes. So
Northeast was in that game.
Oh, I mean, the kid we talked about, number 3, scored the goal before we left. Siddiqui
Fofana, I believe it is. I have it written down here. Some of these names are a little difficult to pronounce, but he's from Liberia, big and strong, 6'1", we're guessing. Siddiqui Fofana is how you say it. At least 185 pounds, very muscular, and we're going to get into him in just a minute also. But Northeast stay with LaSalle. That's a very interesting game.
So this is some games to look forward to.
Yeah.
I mean, as the season's going on, these are some teams we'll probably be seeing at the end, playing each other, and that could be a great District 12 championship rematch.
It could be, yes.
Northeast has had a lot of success so far this season. I mean, this week they've outscored opponents 15-0. They beat Samuel Fells on Monday 8-0, and they beat Bodine 7-0 on the 13th. I mean, just outscoring opponents like crazy. And as you said, they're led by this freshman who is.
Well, that's what I saw. I went to the game. I actually went to the second of those 2 games, and this Fofana he's a force.
Yeah.
He's a freshman. Don't know his exact age, but he did score 3 goals in the second half, 2 of which were off the head, and 1 was from a head, and they were impressive goals. Now the second one, he wasn't marked properly. Like I was down there, right under the goal there, and I was like kind of taking pictures, and I saw that somehow they forgot about him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you forget about this kid, but anyway, he was in the middle there, and the corner went right to his head, and he fired it in. That's 2 head goals in about a 5-minute span.
So he's somebody
it was a 5-minute
we
span.
really want to watch out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Someone we're going to be talking a lot about on this show.
Very impressive.
And he is not their only good player.
Really?
Northeast is very, very solid. Right up the middle, I had a long talk with Sam Feldman, who is the father of the head coach and is the assistant head coach. So the head coach is Craig Feldman.
Right.
In his 5th year, assisted by his father, Sam Feldman, who did 10 years as the head coach. So now Sam's been with this team 15 years. Craig, the younger Feldman, has 5 years as the head coach, and there's another assistant. I don't know him, but another soccer guy. And these guys know soccer.
Right.
3 straight public league championships.
And so they've got talent all across the board. I mean, good coaches.
Very solid.
Okay.
I mean, when we played them, they're very athletic. We called them. We scored 22 minutes into the game and then held on.
A 1-0 game.
Yes, very impressive, and they're well coached, and I know they're going to get better.
Right.
And again, their scores are starting to come in. They had 2 losses against Catholic League teams to get them ready for their public league schedule. But you're going to see, I mean, they're going to get better when October comes around. Those kids.
I believe you're correct in that. I saw the same thing. I heard all the right words being said from the coaching staff and players to each other. And again, there's a lot of there's a second-year starter in the goal, Sebastian Gimeno, senior sweeper right in front of him, and I'm going to try this name, Mohammed Kalafala.
Just to go back on size of goalkeepers, that kid's
Yeah,
got to be
he's
over
gigantic.
6 foot.
I stood next
Big
to
as
him.
he is, tall, strong as he looks.
I think he's probably 6'2", 220 or 230.
Hits the ball.
He's
Wow.
wide.
Yeah. So
He's wide.
we got some good goalkeepers in this area.
Yeah.
So from one team that's on the rise with Northeast to a team that we had high expectations going into the season, and they haven't lived up to them yet, and that's Lower Dauphin. They
Lower
were
Dauphin,
ranked number 3, Dauphin, in the top drawer soccer poll, and now they're out.
right.
Now they're out of the top 50. They're 10th in the state. They're 2-2-1. Any idea why this has happened?
Well, they're facing some tough competition. They have a tie against State College.
Right.
State College High School. A loss to Hershey. A loss to CD East, which is Central Dauphin East, a rival team. This is the Mid-Penn Conference, the Keystone Division, and right now they are 2-2-1 with an 0-2 in the league. And this is a team that was, as we said, undefeated last year, state champions, very highly ranked up until these losses.
Yeah.
According to the coach, there's no reason for panic. He is not hitting the button. It's a slow start. The pressure is real, but they're thinking that they're going to be ending up state champions again.
Right. So maybe like Northeast, they'll put things together towards the middle of the season and start to click.
Yeah, a program like that probably had experienced some turnover.
Yeah.
Players graduated, which we talked about in the first show.
That's right.
And getting used to the other players returning and figuring out that and gelling and figuring out how they're going to gel together. Imagine that coach will get them together. It's a tough conference, and they're going to play each other.
tough.
They play each other twice those league games, so they're going to get another shot. At
Yeah.
them. So we'll keep our eye out to see how they, if they progress or go the other way. So it's that's something to keep look forward to.
Jerry Lynch is the coach out there. He's experienced. He always gets his teams to work together, and they take one game at a time. It's look, again, they were undefeated last year. They've had a tough start, but I think it's going to go well for them. They did lose an All-American last year.
It's always
Timmy
tough
Thompson.
to replace that.
They have a pair of brothers that are, it's Jackson Betcher and Ryan Betcher. They're the sons of a professional player. So I mean, they're strong. They have a tough team.
It's just taken a little
gonna take some
time to gel and get ready. I mean, it's always hard to replace an All-American, no matter whatever level you're playing at.
Yeah, All-American. That's right. Yeah.
So moving on, Cap, you wanted to talk about the Middletown versus Camp Hill game that's
Yeah.
happening tonight.
Now, Middletown is a District 3 team, about 20 miles southeast of Harrisburg. I'm very familiar with it. And the reason I'm familiar with it is my twin brother, was the head coach there.
Really?
Yes, he was. And successful. He had a successful run. He's now retired.
More power to him.
Yeah. But I did call him. We spoke about the Middletown game. Undefeated right now, Middletown. 2A level for PIAA purposes, for classification purposes, against the undefeated defending state champion Camp Hill team.
So this is a big early game.
This is being played even as we speak.
Yeah.
Right now. I think it just started.
I probably
Kicked off at
I'll probably get some tweets during the broadcast here.
should get your brother to text you the score.
If he knew how to tweet, he would. He can text, but David Alcock played for my brother and now plays for this team. Very, very big player. Also Donovan Brady, both 4-year starters,
Right.
and I guess you call him an exchange student, Thomas Einloff. I believe he's from Germany. I'm not 100% sure.
Sounds
I'll check with my
Germanish.
brother on that. He played for Cumberland Valley. Was not getting the playing time he wanted. He's a midfielder, sometimes a striker. Switches in and out. And he is the third big player on that team, on the Middletown team. So that game's being played tonight. We will find out, and next week we'll report on
So later on the 16th, another great rivalry rivalry game, Central Dauphin versus Central Dauphin East.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you hear two teams that have a very similar name, you think they have to be rivals. What can you tell me about this game coming up?
Okay, well, they are in the same school district.
Right.
They split the school district. It's kind of like around here you would have, it used to be Council Rock. Now it's Council Rock North, Council Rock South. And the CBs, we have...
East,
CB.
West, South.
There's three of them now.
Yeah.
This happens.
Yeah.
Downingtown East, Downingtown West, and obviously...
Well-populated area, big school district.
That's right.
Yeah.
Again, two heavy powerhouses meeting
Right.
early in the season. They're going to play each other twice.
That's
in
right.
their conference.
Big rivalry?
Yes.
Yep.
Big rivalry. That's going on tomorrow night. Correct?
Yeah.
That one's
That's on the
taking place,
16th, so that's Saturday night.
Got it.
Yeah.
Saturday.
So, thank you for tuning in for the men's or the boys' side
Boys.
so far. We will take a quick commercial break and we will be back to cover the girls' soccer in the state of Pennsylvania. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-09.
Welcome back to In the Goal. I'm your host, Stephen Schreiber, joined by Jack Kapp and Ryan Haney. Fellas, we're gonna start with the girls' side after the break, and you know we're gonna start. Not only do the boys have the #1 rated team in the country, the girls do too, and that's with Norwin. They have been on an absolute tear to start this season. They are undefeated, and they have not allowed a single goal in 4 games. They're up 29-0. And their last 2 games, they outscored opponents 23-0, beating Connellsville 11-0 and Greater Latrobe Senior 12-0. This has just been an impressive performance, fellas.
They're led by their goalkeeper, I think, listing Wexler.
Yeah.
Wexel.
He's a Ohio commit.
Yes.
Again, 4 shutouts already. They were the District 7 1 seed last year.
And 4A champs. They are out of District 7, like
Yep.
you said, which surrounds Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's the Allegheny County region. No goals against.
No.
It's impressive.
Can you imagine going a season undefeated and unscored upon?
I mean, even through
Is that
like
even possible?
a clean sheet in 1 game is impressive enough, but having 4 in a row, I mean,
And #1 team in the country to have 2 teams from Pennsylvania on the boys' side and the girls' side.
It's exciting.
In the country.
Yep.
It's an awesome time for high school soccer.
Yeah.
On the boys and girls' side.
it's tremendous. I mean, you can't. I mean, when you see they have outscored opponents 29, they don't only have great goalkeeping, but their offense is just running full steam ahead right now. I mean, it's just incredible.
I mean, 11-0, 12-0.
Yeah.
We don't know who they're playing exactly because we're not out in District 7, but it's still, when you're scoring
Those
23 to nothing
Yeah.
in goals for versus goals against, something's going on there.
Yeah.
And it's
Takes
pretty
to score that
impressive.
many goals this season. It's impressive.
So we'll see as the season goes along.
Love to see them continue, both of them and kind of still
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
One in the country.
I would love to see that,
That's
too.
full.
So moving on, bringing it back east, we're going to look at the Downingtown East versus Downingtown West matchup. A big win by East, winning 5-0 over West. What can you tell me? You were at
I
that
was at
game.
the
What can you
Yeah,
tell me about that?
I drove out to Downingtown, and the game was at Downingtown West, interestingly enough.
Really?
Even though the newspaper had it at Downingtown East, I stopped at East, and the football coaches said, no, we don't have lights. Go west, young man.
Funny how that works.
So I went
Close
out.
rivalry, though, not too far. away.
No, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So I drove out to Downingtown West, and of course there they were. Big game, big rivalry, raucous crowd. Everybody in Downingtown gets into it. Obviously, it's the they all know each other.
Right.
The girls have been playing against each other forever. They call it the Battle of the Brandywine. I like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Revolutionary War connotation. So Battle of the Brandywine. It turned out to be a little bit of a mismatch. Downingtown East, the better team, more experienced coach. Downingtown West with a new coach. Not saying that really was a big factor, but a lot of experience. Look, it's the Cougars versus the Whippets. And out there, it's a big game. It's the Chestmont National Chestnut League National Division.
Okay.
And the Cougars have won 3 Chestnut National Championships in the last 5 or 6 years, district finalists, district champs within the last 6 years, and they've done very well. It was an interesting game. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a mismatch, like I said, but it was fun to be there, and it was a great environment, great crowd, and I enjoyed it.
So the game was at West.
Yeah.
Was the home crowd kind of stunned a little, or was it more like
I think they were disappointed.
Disappointed? Because I mean, it's always hard to lose a game like that, but to lose a game like that at home, I mean, it just has to be a little demoralizing for the home fans.
It was, and even though they were actually considered the visiting team,
really,
which kept confusing me, but because of the light situation.
Yeah.
But they evidently lost 5 players to the academies,
right?
And that's 5 players that would have been starters.
Yeah. So
So,
tough to replace
yeah,
half your
tough to
starting lineup
replace.
right there.
The girls started this year where if you're an academy player, which the pro teams have academy
That's
programs, and if you decide to play in or you're selected to play in their academy programs, you are
You
prohibited
cannot-
from playing high school soccer.
That's
Because
right.
they're
Okay.
training and they're mandated from U.S. Soccer, follow certain guidelines. And that affects the boys and girls side
That's right.
for talent. As you can say, the LaSalle kid was an academy player. He's now a senior and he decides to play high school soccer.
Yeah.
So it could go either way. So when you have those girls in the building and you don't have them on your field, it can be tough.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's very
Team to be
difficult for the
that,
coaching staff and for the other players.
Well, we'll keep it rolling. We're going to look at Northeast versus Central. I believe Central got a big win there, 4-0.
That's correct.
Another. Was the score? Was it closer than the score made it out to be,
It was
or was
close for a long time.
so? It was just rapid fire at the end by Central to take the lead, to close it out.
Central had a 1-0 lead and then poured it on towards the end. I think Northeast ran out of gas. Northeast girls we're talking
Yes.
about now, not to confuse the boys and the girls. This is the girls' game, and Central is a traditional power, along with FTC, which is Franklin Town Charter in the public league. We mentioned it a couple weeks ago or last week on our broadcast. I think that between those 2 teams, Central and FTC, they've been the champion in the public league. I believe it's 15 straight years.
Really? Yeah.
And they've played each other for the championship,
Most of
let's
those
say
years.
6 of the last years consecutively. So
Impressive.
it's those 2 teams, and I'm sure you're familiar with them because you
On the
probably
girls'
played
side,
against
we
them.
met Franklin Town 4 years straight in the district championship, and they would always be coming off a win from Central.
Yeah.
That's
at
right.
that time. So
With Brianna O'Donnell as the
Yeah,
coach.
yeah.
Yeah, those were good years.
yeah, and she's got
Yeah.
another good team this year.
Yeah.
Franklin Town.
She always produces.
They're the 3 teams you're going to see on that public side at the end competing for a city championship or a district 12 title.
I mean, Northeast, I think, is second tier, obviously, and from what I saw, and they have some things to learn. They
Right.
weren't that aggressive. They weren't that assertive, I think is more maybe the better terminology. There was a lot of 50-50 balls that they kind of backed off on a little bit, headers and so on. And you see that sometimes with younger or more inexperienced players.
As the season
there's some
goes
other
on, it could
things.
change, though.
Yeah, I mean, there were some other things.
Yeah.
I was standing on the side. I used to be a coach, not at your level, but I did coach. I was a head coach at a high school, and one of the things it was a private high school, and one of the things that really bothered me is when kids don't react quickly enough to what's happening. When you get a set piece, a direct or an indirect, bang! Don't wait for the defense to set up. Things like that,
Okay.
and just little things here and there I noticed, and that can be
And
improved.
that's something that
it's a new
everybody can
coach.
control. You play with some urgency,
Yeah.
you play with some will and some desire to go win that ball, go after that ball. That's something that's inside you that you can control. That's
There's a physicality
Yeah.
factor to it.
So we're go-
and the girls need to sometimes get accustomed to physicality.
and that could come later in the season.
It
Later in the
happens,
season,
yeah.
They might play a little bit of that.
Well, they have a new coach, Coach Soros, and he's a second-year man, but I know him well. He's a good man.
So moving on, this was one that surprised all 3 of us when we learned that the score was in fact correct. Archbishop Wood beating Penn Charter 4-3. There was a little confusion over what the score was, and I think it was Maggie Siggett.
Maggie Cliggett,
Cliggett.
game winner in overtime.
Two sisters. Yep.
4-3 game. Penn Charter was coming off a 1-0 win
Right.
over Ryan on Saturday night, and they played Wood yesterday. And again, Penn Charter is led by Darcy Borski, who's an All-American at UVA. She's been coaching here a long time. She's got a couple good players on her, Caitlin Hoy, DeMarco, and they both had, I think DeMarco had 2 goals yesterday, and Hoyt had 1. She's loaded with talent, and Wood, who's had some early not so results in their favor, comes up with a big win against an Interact school who's probably picked on paper to win the Interact. So Wood looks like they're hitting their stride for some tough Catholic competition coming up.
And Wood is always good. As you well know, those games, when you coached the girls at Ryan, those were great games. The Wood Ryan games, we broadcast a couple of them.
There's some nightmares about some of those games.
Wasn't there one that ended in overtime?
And it was controversial.
Was it disputed
goal? Crossed the
goal?
line because you guys had a good footage of it.
I remember that. I remember you got. Well, look, your head coach. You got worked up. Yeah,
it happens. We've all been worked up over games.
Wood has a new coach this year. Wood has he was a long-time JV coach, long-time assistant there, Dan Finella, and he's leading the team now. And he's putting his stamp on it, and it's good to see that they got a great win yesterday. So happy for those kids, and of course I'll be rooting for Catholic League teams until they play Ryan.
Until they play Ryan, yeah. Until they play the Ragdolls. But Capo was there for how many years, Coach Capo?
37.
That's a long time.
If not, and I'm not don't hold me that, but it was a long time.
I know it was a long time.
He's won a bunch of championships. Him and the guy from Hubert's, Mickey. And Marcos from Little Flower. These are guys that I learned from in my 11 years coaching the girls, and they were all there before I got there for years, and they're still there. Yeah. Some of those guys. So it's nice to see guys still giving back and be part of the game, and they're great minds to help these young ladies get the game the right way.
Absolutely. So moving on, we want to look at the Trinity versus Cumberland Valley matchup coming up. That's right?
That is correct.
That is correct. Yes. And Trinity has been on a roll, or not on a roll. Their last game, they beat Milton Hershey 6-0. Cumberland Valley, another team that has had success in this week. They beat Central Dauphin 1-0, and then they beat State College 5-0. This is on the girls' side. This should be a good matchup.
Yes. Trinity is the three-time consecutive state champions. So three-peat for Trinity. They're going for a quad-peat, I guess you would call it. A very, very, very solid program, quality soccer at all times for the girls at Trinity. Cumberland Valley, also very good. Lost some players to one of those academies, but George Gemberling is the head coach, experienced top head coach, and this should be a really good game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the result. Again, you have a 2A school going against a 4A school. Again, that result will get them ready for state playoffs later this season, and there's two great teams coming together early to see how they do against each other.
They both look strong on paper. I haven't seen them play personally, but I think it should be a great game to look forward to. And we're going to move into more games that we're going to look forward to. First, we're going to start with on the boys' side, Conestoga at Westchester East. And we highlight this game simply because it's the number one team in the nation. I mean, if they were playing close to me, within an hour or so, I would be driving out to see them play because you don't get to see the number one team play that often.
I might be there.
I mean, it'd be great to get some reporting to see how good the number one team actually is. Because we've highlighted outscoring opponents 23-6. We'll see if that's just an incredible goal differential right there. And
just put yourself in Westchester's coach's mind where he gets to get these guys fired up for the game. So you get to play the number one team in the country.
It's not hard to get. That's got to be awesome.
That's right. You get one shot maybe out of it. So let's see if we can take them down. And that's what they're going to be dealing with all year, all season, Conestoga. And if they can keep that with that on their back and still play the level they've been playing at, that'll be something to see if they can be tested.
When you do your pregame speeches, do you prepare them or do you just wing it?
There's some preparation involved. I'll look at some stats. I'll look see what's going on. I'll make some calls. I'll see if I can get some video footage, and then we'll do some scouting. But then when you come down to some of these Catholic League games, if you can't get up to play the Judges and the LaSalle's and the North Catholics going further back. When the Ryan guys, some of these speeches I've heard these coaches give, and when I was on the girls' side, we're playing Wood and we're playing Hubert's, and they're rivalry games. And there's not so much that needs to be said. It's just let's go out and play and have fun and enjoy the moment, embrace it. And an opportunity like that for those young kids to play on that stage, it's awesome. It's fun.
Oh, without question. To play a number one team, I've seen number one teams in basketball. I've never seen one in soccer. Number one in the nation.
It should be a great season. It would be fun to watch to see if they can hold it all year long. Another great game we're looking at is St. Joseph Prep, the Prep versus Roman. This is something you highlighted, a game you're very excited about. Why are you so excited about this?
Prep's led by first-year coach Joe Coyle, coming off a 3-0 win over Carroll in his first Catholic League opener on the Thursday prior, he went down 1-0 to LaSalle, which, not a moral victory, you want to say, but LaSalle's a very good team. He's, his first Catholic game, only went down 1-0, then he rebounds and beats Carroll 3-0. He's got Roman, which is the returning. They've been in the Catholic League final the last 3 years. They've won it one of those years. Last year they lost to LaSalle in a 2-1 game. So to see how Ray and Goooaaalll going against each other at Lighthouse Field, 7 o'clock on a Friday night, sure to be crowded with a lot of Northeast soccer history there and guys on the side.
I'm sure that'll be a great game, just a great experience if you're a fan going. I mean, soccer games as a fan are just incredible to go to. But moving on to the girls' side, we're going to look at, we got to highlight any game Norwin plays because, you could see a,
the boys or girls' side, like they Conestoga, now Norwin.
Norwin, just incredible goal differential, 29-0 or 29-0 in goals. That's just incredible. And they're taking on, I miswrote the team, so, but they have a game coming up, and I think that's this Friday. So I think that's what you want to look for. And we're going to go to commercial break very quickly, and we'll be back for the final thoughts. Don't leave us.
Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Haney, Jack, Kapp, give me some of your final thoughts before we close out the show.
Again, it was a great episode. We're looking at some great teams. Talking about the two #1 teams in the country, on the Norwin on the girls' side, Conestoga on the boys' side. I'm excited to follow them and see some results. And then on the Catholic League side, there's some great games coming up. Again, we highlighted the Prep versus Roman. So we'll see how those things, how the Catholic League kind of goes through.
Look, there's so many great games and so many great leagues. It's an inundation of soccer in this state. I tried to cover District 1, District 12, District 3. We touched on District 7. When I said I tried to cover, I tried to research. If you're out there in District 2 or District 4 or some of these places we're not familiar with, thesfbn.com, send us a note. Tell us about your team, and we'll be glad to talk about them.
Absolutely. Well, this has been, I've had a great time here tonight. I hope you two have. This is In the Goal for Jack, Kapp, Ryan, Haney. I'm Stephen Schreiber. Have a great night. The end.